Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar this afternoon. I see that we have some members that have joined us that have followed TMAC for quite a while, so thank you for being here. And for those of you that are new, I will provide a quick little brief update on who TMAC is and why we are here today and why we're partnered with Sustainment. So TMAC is the NIST MEP Center. We represent the whole state. We have 8 locations, as you can see behind me, and we cover the whole state. We're supporting manufacturers, small businesses. We are partnered with Sustainment. We have the Texas Manufacturing Network. It is on our website at www.tmac.org, so you can get more information on our website. But today, the importance here that I want to inform you about is our partnership with Sustainment is going to be developed across the whole nation. So what does that mean? NIST, our funding agency, is going to develop SCION, which is a supply chain optimization and intelligence network. That is going to be connected across the whole United States. Sustainment is our preferred partner, our supply chain network that we chose for the state of Texas. So it's very important for you to listen in to Trevor Bryant today. He is the Director of Sales for Sustainment. He's going to tell you about the Sustainment platform and the partnership with TMAC. So we hope that after this webinar that you get onto the platform and you have an opportunity to engage and be a part of not just Texas Supply Chain Network, but the network that's going to be developed across the nation. So with that, Trevor Bryant, I would like for you to share with our audience today about Sustainment and provide a demo.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. And thank you everybody for joining. I'm happy to be here and talk to you guys a little bit about Sustainment. And with that, I'm going to go through a few slides, and then we're going to actually jump into a live demo. If you have any questions, feel free to just chat them or type them into the chat, and we'll get to those at the end. But with that, if my slide will advance, there we go. So just wanted to cover a little bit about Sustainment. We were a platform that was first introduced to solve problems with the Tinker Air Force Base, trying to find manufacturers to build components for the B-52 bomber. Fast forward a couple of years, COVID happened, and really what was identified as the ecosystem of US manufacturers was very fragmented, and no one had any idea as to who did what where. So Sustainment kind of grew and moved into more of a public offering, which you're seeing today, to help connect those US manufacturers with people who want to buy services from them. We have multiple levels of the platform: community version, which is free for everyone to join. Put your company out there, set up a profile so buyers can find you. We have the professional version, which is not just for buyers to find US manufacturers, but also manufacturers to find other manufacturers to assist with outsourced processes due to capabilities or potentially capacity. And then the enterprise version for your larger companies that have a team of buyers that are looking to connect with US manufacturers to have work done. And then the blueprint version you see down there at the bottom, which organizations like TMAC use for pulling reports and gathering information about the manufacturers in their area. So from a survey that was done in late 2001, you can see the data. I'm not going to read through all this information here for you, but a couple big things here. 98% of the companies believe they should avoid future supply chain disruptions. I think everybody on this call would agree that they probably had some supply chain issues, and things could have been better during COVID, before COVID, and certainly after COVID. 63% of companies have taken measures to avoid future supply chain disruptions. So, and that's one thing that you're all here today to do, is to how do you limit your risk around supply chain disruptions moving into the future. But if you want to take a look at some of these other data points on this slide, I can tell you years ago when I was working in marketing and sales for a company, we relied on a manufacturer, a US manufacturer, that decided they wanted to relocate their facility. They relocated their facility from one state, which was actually, it moved out of Texas at the time. So some of you I'm not going to name names, but some of you may have been familiar with the name of the company. They relocated out of Texas, and when they relocated, they were a major supplier of approximately millions of dollars worth of products for the company I was at. And when they relocated that factory, we didn't have a backup plan. They believed everything would go fine, and it didn't. And meanwhile, we had about a 2-year disruption in supplies of a very key item for our customer base. So I've very closely lived through the supply chain issues that can happen when you don't have a good network of manufacturers behind you. So something that Sustainment helps solve is communication around that supply chain you're working with and those manufacturing partners you're working with. Hidden suppliers, it helps buyers find those suppliers that they otherwise weren't aware existed just around the corner. Also being able to search by location, and we'll see that in the platform as well. And once again, that connection and that communication with those suppliers in one place in a FedRAMP secure environment for document sharing. So with that, I'm going to jump over to a demo and take you into the platform. So when you log into the platform, you'd normally land right here on the dashboard. However, for those in the platform, probably the spot that you spend the most time is in here in the My Suppliers. So what we see here is there's 128 different suppliers that are in my network that I'm connected to on the platform. And from here, I can communicate with them, just clicking messages. I can add them to projects. I can create notes about them and add them to lists. And I'm going to jump into examples of all of that and why you would use that here in a moment. But one of the things we would look at here is also NDA management. So it's easy for you to identify if you have an NDA on file for this supplier or not, which is a big part of the business. When you bring new suppliers on board, before you do much with them, the first thing you want to do is get that NDA signed. This is a great place to house all of that information and quickly know who you have NDAs on file with and who you do not. To walk through here, one of the things you can do is you could actually build a list of suppliers that you're researching. So say you're out there exploring and looking for new suppliers. When you come across one that looks good, you could just add them to a research list. So this is a company that I'm researching and looking at being a new supplier for me. From here, I see their information on their card. So their description, the processes they do, certifications they have. If they've uploaded a copy of that certification, I can click on the Show Certificate. It's going to pop up and it's going to open for me in another tab. So I can actually view that document. So it's very important for those of you joining the community, which once again is free to do, that you make sure to upload this information about your business, including your certifications and any registrations you have, like ITAR registration. Any other documents that this company has provided. So they've got a capability statement here, some photos, size of their company. There's quite a bit of detail and information they could upload and populate about their company. Since I'm already connected to them, it also shows me their location, which I would see that even if we weren't connected. But what I see because we are connected is a contact email address and a phone number. From here, if I've liked what I've seen about this company, I could then take and move them to the contact list. So everything I've seen so far is good. I'm going to move them to my contact list, and which is going to pull them out of this company list that I'm researching. Now I want to reach out and make some contact with them, have some discussions with them. If everything sounds good in those initial discussions, I would take and I would move them from this contact list to the NDA list, because now I've got an NDA signed on file. I can start sending them some prints, sending them some information to build that relationship further, get some target pricing back from them, some lead times. Once again, we'll see that they come off of this list I was just on and move to this NDA list. So these are companies I'm still researching, but I haven't approved them as a supplier yet. In these lists, you have the ability to name them and make all the lists you want. It'll come with nothing. They're very easy to create and add, and it's alphanumeric, so you can number them in the order you want, or you can just use the alphabet. From here, I've moved that company, so maybe I've sent them some prints. Everything looks good. They give me some good pricing back. I say, you know what? I want to do business with them in the future. I'm going to make them part of my Pacific Northwest Energy Build project here, for an example. So I saved them, and now they're going to be a part of that list. I could make them a part of multiple lists if I wanted to as well. So maybe they're one of my go-tos for additive manufacturing. they would be in this list here if I had selected that option. But I'll come down here to where I moved them, and I have them down here, and there's quite a few in this one. So you'll see them down there, right there, Worko. And now if I have a project or parts I need made around this project, I can simply create a project right from here by selecting the suppliers I want to send information to, my outsource partners I want to send information to. I would just check them, and I could also come in here and see what notes I have on them, like their supplier scorecard that I populated here. Another supplier scorecard here. Any extra contact information. I would create a new project. And from there, I have to be careful here for everybody because I am on a live version. I don't want to actually invite these people to a project. But from there, I would upload my project name, put in your typical RFQ information at this point. So quantity, when you need your quote back by, materials, whether you're providing them, whether they need to supply them, if you need material certs, that sort of stuff. And you could make this all pre-NDA information. And the reason you would want to do that is then if you also want to make this community project where it show up for our community to see the project, to ask to join, you could do that. Once again, you wouldn't have NDAs in place with those people, so you want to be careful about how much information you share. From here, I'm not going to actually hit the create project because once again, that will invite people to it. But I would select the processes. The reason I'd select the processes is for those that are looking at it can quickly glance at it and say, yep, we do those things. Let's take a look at, let's get some more information. Or you could say, you know what, I don't do additive HP multi-jet. This isn't a job for me. So they could pass and not waste their time. I'm gonna hit cancel here and I'm gonna jump up into the projects and we're gonna live in pretend world like I actually created a project there. So if I had created that project, what would have happened from there is this would be where I would come to manage that project, the details, which others would see. I would see who I invited to that project. So HS Manufacturing there, Duncan and Test Account. These are the companies that I invited to that project that accepted the invitation. These are ones that I invited that have not accepted yet. And this would be where requests. So if I had made this a community offering, this would be requests where people had come in and asked to join the project. And once again, I could read my notes or check my lists from here if I wanted to as well. You'll notice something key here on HS Manufacturer. You see that verified badge. We click on this and open them up. You can see that they've been verified by the Texas MEP. So right here on the call with us. So that means that someone went out there and did an on-site evaluation to make sure that what they posted on their profile matches the work that they do and that those certifications match the certifications they have. So H&S may do more work than that, but this is the bare minimum. They do at least what they posted to their profile. And you'll see another verified badge there for Advantage. From here, if I wanted to invite additional people to the project, I could just go to my list, which would really be a hunt and peck. I could go out here to the Discover Vendors, which is going to be out on the map. Clear my search filters here and say I am looking for suppliers in the Texas area. I would come down here and I would say I'm looking for someone in a 50-mile, we'll use a 100-mile radius of Dallas. I'd hit search. And as you can see, we have more than 200 manufacturers represented on the platform here within a 200-mile or within a 100-mile radius of Dallas. So, and from here, I could choose to add any of those manufacturers to this project. What I would do though in a normal flow is I'd come in here and say, you know what, I want to take a look at Bronco here and see what type of information is on them and connect with them, possibly go out to their website, learn a little bit more about them. You know, same thing with Reno Machine, Shamrock. You know, I could come out here and I could look at these details on them, check out their certifications, go out to their website. If they had posted their LinkedIn page, I would have access to that as well, and any information about them. And then I could say, you know what, they look pretty good. So I'm going to come over here and I am going to add Shamrock to this job, confirm selection, and that would send them an invite letting them know and they'd see that invite in two places. They would see that invite in an email form, and then they would also see that invite inside the platform itself. So it hits them in more ways than one. Now that I built my team of manufacturers that are going to get me quotes on this, any messaging around this project would be housed right here, which is really nice because now no matter who's on the platform inside your company, if there's messages going back and forth from one supplier or one outsource partner back to you, and the person that would normally be managing it is on vacation or out sick that day, you don't have to worry about hunting through someone's email or wondering if someone changed a subject line or if someone's out, no response is happening. Because you just like a chat feature, you're just going to have the discussion right here inside the platform. Everyone inside your company can see what's going on. These suppliers can't see each other though, unless you want them to. And I'll go into a little bit of that here in a few minutes. But say that Duncan Machine had asked a question about this project that others may have the same question. You could simply highlight that question, copy and paste it, and share that information with the other people bidding on the project as well. That way, everyone has that advanced information to get you the fastest and lowest quotes possible. From here, document sharing. So really nice thing about the platform is it is a FedRAMP secure site for sharing very large files. So 150 gigabyte file here. So you can share 3D models right through the platform, know you're sending them in a secure environment and they're being received in a secure environment. And then you also have the ability to remove people's access from that document as well. So you could come in here and just as simple as saying share files. I want to send these two files to these two people. Test accounts already received it. I can tell by that little minus right there. And I would hit share. Not going to do it because I don't want to send these people files. But a really simple way to house and share those files. And it's just an easy way of uploading them as well. You just drag and drop your files in, or you can link them or do an explorer, I should say, browse your device and find those files. I'm going to move here to settings because that was where I hit on a little earlier about allowing project team members to see each other. Now, in most cases, that wouldn't be something you want to do. But if you're working on a project where maybe it's starting with a forger, and then it's going to a machine shop from there, and then from the machine shop, maybe it's going to head out and have some anodizing or some plating done. That would be an example where those people could all see each other and be fine because they're not in competition with the business. So, your forger, when they finish up the work, say they've got 200 units that are going to head out on 4 different skids that are shipping out today, they could post that information in a message, and then that way the machine house could say, okay, we got 200 units coming in. They'll probably be here tomorrow. So tonight on second shift, let's tool up the machine and be ready for them. So they take second shift, tool up the machine, parts show up the next day, they start machining them. And then when they wrap them up, they could send a message to the plater as well. The other world that I lived in personally multiple times at the last manufacturing plant I worked at, we would have a shipment of items show up. We would, post arrival, tool up the machine, get started on them. So we lost some time there. We'd wrap up, tear down the machine just to find the same exact parts coming in another pallet because for some reason the freight company had divided up the shipment. So, instead of all 200 showing up at one time, 100 or 150 showed up. We machined those, sent them down the road. Day later, another 50 show up, and now we're charging our customer for another setup, or we're eating another setup, one of the two. So nice way for there to be some communication on what would really be an ongoing, project. So that kind of shows the projects there. I wanted to jump over here to the opportunities tab. So the opportunities tab, when I was saying you could make a project community opportunity, the opportunities tab is where that would show up. So you can see here, there's a community project right now for a handle. And you'll see the company name is Sustainment. If you ever want to post a job that's confidential or otherwise where you're not being identified, we can handle that by posting it as a sustainment opportunity. So it's just an example of where it's not an opportunity that's being posted by a company that wants people reaching out to them at that time. So, and then what a normal, since this is posted by us, we'll see all these other tabs. But typically what someone would come in and see is they would just see this information here, the project name, the description around that project, what types of processes they're needing, the location, and opportunity, how long that opportunity is, pretty much when do they need a quote by. So by the 16th. And what you would see here if you wanted to join this project is you would see a tab right where my arrow is saying request to join. So which then an invite would be sent, and it would show us, or the poster. It would show the poster of the project that company XYZ would like to join your project. You accept. Still doesn't mean they've seen any post NDA type of information yet. It simply means they're in the project, and now you could use that project to share that NDA with them, get it signed, get it back, and then share those 3D models, prints, and any other details around the project. So moving out of projects here, I'm going to jump over to the find suppliers. So we already saw this a little bit in the when I was doing the project of locating suppliers. But say you're just wanting, you don't have a project going, but you're just wanting to look for suppliers that do certain processes. So say I'm just looking for additive manufacturers, and I could drill down to the sub-process level as well, but say I'm looking for additive manufacturers in a 100-mile radius of Dallas. So it's going to show me those companies that are on the platform here that do additive manufacturing. Since I see the connect button on these, I know that I'm not connected to them. We haven't had any conversations back and forth yet. If I was connected to them, this would say message. If it says invite, that means they have a profile on the platform. However, no one from their company has yet claimed that profile and set it up and completed it yet. So if you knew someone at that company, you could click the invite and populate their email address and send them an invitation to join the platform as well. So from here, I'm going to jump up and show you messaging. This to me is an absolute awesome part of the platform here, especially if you have multiple people inside of your procurement department. You come over here to messaging. If you have just your regular messaging, just same idea like LinkedIn, like I'm going to send a message back and forth with these people, and it's going to be in a general conversation. If you have projects going on with them, it'll actually segment out your messages. So you've got your main chat, that's just conversations back and forth with them. And then you chat around a project. So if you wanted to go in and say, what's the conversation around here, around this project, what's going on, you'd have access to that. Once again, one of the really nice features about that is the fact that anybody can come in and see that communication. So now you're going to be, sitting in a position where if someone's on vacation or someone's out, you have that conversation history. One of the questions that comes up every now and then is how long does that information live there? And I can tell you it lives there a very long time. There's no timeout on it yet because we haven't even put bumpers around that, but it'll be there for at least a year or two. So there's no reason to worry about that at this point. So another thing to take a look at, if you go to the resources tab, I'm logged in as if I'm in Colorado. You guys will see local Texas resources here. So it's very important that you come to this tab here and find those resources that are on the platform that are available to you. And then lastly, the invite tab. This is where you can come in and invite your current suppliers or other companies you feel should be on the platform. You can just type in their name and their email address and send them an invite. You can also copy this link to a clipboard and then send them an invite out of your email, so it's a little more personalized. And we're happy to help with that. For those that join the platform that also want to bring all their suppliers to connect with, we're happy to help you put that email together. You can put us in the CC line, BCC all your suppliers, put us in the CC line with a link to my calendar to help them onboard if they have any questions. We're more than happy, and that's had great success in the past. So I'm going to jump out of the platform and go back over to the presentation, if it'll allow me. I've got a bar blocking me here. There we go. So wanted to wrap up today with a few success stories, kind of end on the high notes. We had a manufacturer, Milner Manufacturing, located in Kansas. They were trying to get a prototype manufactured. They were using the traditional methods, search Google, find a website, send an email, make a phone call, and kind of hear nothing back. He was pretty frustrated. It had been a several-week process of just trying to find people to give him quotes on his project. What he did is he actually joined the platform on a Wednesday afternoon. He uploaded a project on Wednesday night. By Friday, he had NDAs in place. On Monday, he had received his first quote. And by the end of that week, he had received interactions and quoting on from six on his project. So 10 to 15 manufacturers that joined his project had questions. Either he ruled out or they ruled themselves out. But 6 that were happy to give him quotes. Duncan Machine Products. So they were really building their supplier relationships. And I've dealt with them quite a bit. I can say that a lot of what they were looking for is some of those sub processes of coatings, finishing, as you see, NADCAP accredited. So they use our platform to not only build that supplier and network, locating those suppliers, but also they are ITAR and they are FedRAMP. They need to share documents in a FedRAMP secure environment. So they exclusively use our platform for those file sharing processes. So knowing that they're covered for their ITAR requirements. And then Bunty LLC, this is a company in South Carolina. They were looking to source a very large forging, and it needed to be sourced in the U.S. And they kept running into dead ends with the fact that the forging was such a large forging that most companies didn't have the ability to make it. With joining our platform, within a couple of weeks, they had quote back. They engaged with 2 different companies that could do a forging of that size. Got a quote back from one of those companies. The other one was extremely busy and really actually bowed out when they realized that they had already received 1 quote back already. But that was a great experience for them because they were struggling to find someone in the US to deal that project for them. So, question that everybody has, what does this cost? So to join the community is free. So those of you that are manufacturers that want to put your businesses out there to be found, you can join the platform. There'll be a QR code and a website link on the next page. But you can join the platform and set up your profile for free. Highly recommend everybody do that. It's just a great way for you to be found by buyers on the platform. The professional version, $175 a month, no contract, just a month-to-month deal. That's per user. That gives you access to the ability to build that supplier network. Everyone can make connections, but inside the professional version, you get the ability to make those lists, keep those notes, and build those projects and find those suppliers and manufacturers are out there. We have all sorts of personas, different types of companies on the professional versions, everything from the small one that is, small companies that are just looking to manage their outsourced partner network and share files in a secure environment, to larger companies that, have a team of procurement individuals that need to communicate better with their outsourced partners and also communicate better internally as to what's going on with what project. And then we also offer enterprise, and that really gets to be a large platform that, has potentials of integration and stuff like that. And we build that project out and price it accordingly. So here's the QR code to scan to join. Jump in there, join the platform, update your profile. If you've already joined the platform in the past, I would recommend, going in and double checking your profile, make sure you have things in there like any certifications you have, capability statement if you have one. Equipment list is a great thing to add if you don't have an equipment list loaded up in there. Some photos of some finished products that you've done, or photos of your facility is great. And really use this platform to grow your business. So that would be the end of the demo. Is there any questions that have come up?
So Trevor, this is Monica. You have quite a few questions. Let me start with the first one.
Okay.
What different certifications are searchable in the platform? I believe you answered that, but if you want to reiterate, that would be great.
Yep, and I will take you to show you as well. Let me escape out of here and I'll go back into the platform, which unfortunately I logged out, I guess. Give me 1 second, I'll go log back in.
No worries. It's very informative. Thank you so much.
So when you're actually in the Discover tab, you can see the different searchable, the Find Suppliers. You can see the different searchable certifications. There's a drop down right here that you can search to find by certification, and you'll also see them listed out here. To speak to you about a little bit about the future, certifications, well, you can also free type them in. Right now, you're not able to search the free typed one in, but that will be coming in the future. Like we have a Texas manufacturer on the platform that has like their FFL 07 as one of their certifications. So there, you can free type in when you're setting up your company. You can free type in extra certifications right now that wouldn't necessarily be populated in that normal search at this point, but that is coming in the near future.
Excellent. Thank you. The other thing they can do is reach out to TMAC directly to Mike Boyd and to ask Mike to reach out to you all if they need, and we can let you know what's needed by the manufacturers. The second question is, how many people from my company can I have on my account?
So on the community version, the free version, you can have as many as you would like right now. I would recommend that you have someone on there that kind of represents the sales team. That you have someone on there that represents, depending on how you're going to be using the platform, someone on there who, and the reason I should go into too, someone from the sales team, because they're going to be the ones who should be interacting if there's a project that you guys should be bidding on. So they're going to be engaging in that manner. Someone potentially from the marketing side to make sure that or the quality side, either way, to make sure that your profile is up to date, including the latest versions of your certifications are loaded up there. And that you're presenting your company in the way you want to be presented. And then obviously procurement, using the platform to find those outsourced partners that you want to work with.
Excellent. Thank you. I have another question for you. We have a large number of manufacturers that we already work with. How would I add my existing suppliers to the platform?
Yes. So you would come right to, and I love this question, you come right to the invite button. And my suggestion is you actually copy and paste this link right here and send it to them in a personalized email saying, hey, we discovered this platform here at Sustainment. We're going to be using it for our document sharing or for building projects, or however, if you're planning on joining the professional version, letting them know it's free to join. And I'm happy to script that email with you and have you copy me in on it, so they see me as a contact with a link to my calendar if they want help actually getting on the platform and understanding how to use it. But letting them know, that this is a free platform for them to join as one of your suppliers, and you'd like to use it for communications moving forward.
Excellent. So I think that answers this next question, but I will read it to give everyone fair opportunity to share their question. It says, so I just want to clarify, is there a fee for my suppliers to be on the platform? I'd like to use the file sharing feature with them.
So no, suppliers, your outsourced partners do not need to pay to join the community. And when you've invited them to a project, that gives them the ability, you can send them files, and that gives them the ability to send files back through that project. So the example of being, if you sent them a print and they needed to mark up the print for some reason, for some sort of an exception, they could mark up the print on their end and re-upload it and send it right back to you. They couldn't start a project or they couldn't initiate the file sharing on the free version, but they can share files back and forth if you're on the free, or if you're on the paid version, and have them in a project.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. I have another question. Boy, this is a great audience. All right.
Yes.
Let me, somehow I lost you. Give me 1 second. Got to get back. Okay. 1 second. I don't know where you are. Here we go. Okay. All right. All right. So can you talk more about the verified badge program? How does a company get verified? How do they get verified?
So a company would send a request to TMAC there. And I don't know if you've been through this process yet, Monica, at all, if you want to elaborate on it or if you'd like me to.
You go right ahead, Trevor.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. And so they would send the request, and that would get the ball started on getting the verification done. At that point, there'd be the verification would be done. Information comes back to us here at Sustainment, and we upload that badge.
Absolutely. Now, what about those that do not have a certification, but they would like one? How do they reach out to you or to TMAC?
For the verified badge, you mean?
No, for if they would like an AS9100, they would
Ah,
reach out to TMAC, and then how would they go back? Would they would just edit their profile and update that?
yes. So if they acquired an AS9100 certification, they would just come in here to the company profile, which I'm already in actually, but it'd be
Okay.
found by going up here, clicking company profile, and then they would edit their profile. They'd come down to certifications, click edit, and then they would select the certification they had. Or once again, if they had a certification that isn't represented here, like federal firearms license, they could add a certification if they wanted to. And then you would just populate the information. You know, if I got ITAR, who the certifier was, what the issue date was, and what the expiration date of it is. And then you could browse from there and pull in that file to post that certification to your an actual electronic copy to the platform.
Excellent. Thank you. It looks like those are all the questions that have been posted. What I would like to inform our attendees about is, as Trevor mentioned, this began as a DoD. However, right now, NIST, there is a large push across the nation for the semiconductor industry. And for those of you on the line, congratulations, you are in the best state. We have 55 OEMs or more in the semiconductor industry, and we have one of the largest research dollars for the state. So Texas, of course, is leading the way. So if you are involved in the semiconductor industry, you're a supplier, or you have a friend that is, make sure you share this information with them. It is being recorded. We want to get them on the platform. We want to strengthen the Texas economy, and TMAC and Sustainment are partnered together to do that. So we look forward to additional questions. You can reach out to either one of us. Information is in the chat. So for those of you who have not been checking out the chat, please take a look on there. You got a lot of valuable links that you can click in. And that is all from TMAC. Trevor, would you like to close?
Yes. Well, once again, thank you for the invitation to present today. I appreciate it. Love working with TMAC. Thank you, everybody, for joining and watching this. If you have any follow-up questions, or want to schedule some time with me, please feel free to do so. We'll get an email out with a link to my calendar and some information. But I'd love to answer any questions that you have. As soon as this ends, someone always has a question. So don't be afraid to reach out to me with any of those questions. And once again, thank you very much for your guys' time today.